Documentary title, Going Out to Fish. The term phishing comes from deceiving people into giving out their personal details and information by pretending to be a bank or government. Describing the project, the story of the project. The documentary will be about exploring the truth behind the fine line between security and privacy, asking questions about how bulletproof security systems can be easily bypassed through other means such as social engineering. The documentary will be highlighting the ignorance in the current generation online privacy, tackling the common question of I have nothing to hide, the government can do what they want, and also seeing if people can actually recall the terms and conditions they've agreed to on their social media sites. Why is it unique? It promotes an unknown angle and actually tries to address the issues on a less technical level versus talking about encryption and complex solutions that normal people wouldn't be interested about. It also shows the audience how your online profile is not actually owned by you. It's just a digital reflection of yourself, which is based online. And also it can display, documentary shows how easy personal things can be unwittingly leaked. And that iOS update that you keep skipping is putting you at risk. Why this documentary? Throughout history, there's been protecting information has been very important. For example, cryptography developed during war. And also the point of this documentary is to make the viewer going from ignorant to well informed when they finish. And also, almost everyone has a social media account online or technology in their life. And also, security and privacy is very important to us.
So the focus will be on targeting academics from the Oxford Martin School, particularly the cybersecurity sector. Sadie Creese is the Professor of Cybersecurity at Oxford Martin School. We're also trying to engage students at Oxford Brookes and to see, especially the ones that study technology and computer science, I guess, on online privacy. And we're going to be filming primarily at the Oxford Martin School and the Oxford City Centre, because we want to try and get some vox pops of people on the street and try and get their opinions on how they view their online security and what they already know and what they don't know. This is going to be an expository documentary. We're not really planning on having a script piece to camera, but we are going to plan to have a voiceover on top of the interview with someone at the Oxford Martin School. It will be a subject-centred documentary, and it will appeal to an audience that has similar beliefs to ours and of the argument. And we're going to use that by using examples to support points and manipulating other arguments to facts to further the opinion being discussed. And this is an example of previous documentary that's already been made called The Power of Privacy, and we're using that as inspiration for the content of our documentary.
Okay, the approach. You can take a lot of sequences such as social engineering, social media, terms and conditions such as stuff you agree to on iTunes or sites like that. Current news goes archive footage to give an argument-bearing documentary more footage and come across better to the viewers. I show the new iOS and Android update allowing you to select individual permission for applications, enable email notifications of new login locations, normal PIN codes replaced by Touch ID, data that's encrypted and disappearing chat feature, virtual private networks, VPN when using public Wi-Fi. It's an expository documentary using a rhetorical frame that addresses data directly, with titles of voices that propose perspective, advance an argument or recount history with a voiceover narration.
Okay, so like the technical issues we'll need to address would be if we're recording in Oxford City Centre, sound, how background sound could affect us. So the solution would be using a shotgun mic or a tie clip. And also filming outside, we'll definitely be using an ND filter. And it will be distributed online on YouTube platform. The characters, we'll use them to show the different viewpoints of the argument. And also the main character will be an academic from the Oxford Martin School. However, the opinion is likely to be, differ to other students or the younger audience, which have been affected by security, and they don't care about the violations or how secure the data is online.
So for our target audience, we've thought about the demographics, the psychographics, and also as well as the UBFC. So we'll be, our documentary will be PG because we're not planning on having anything inappropriate, so no foul language or graphic imagery.
Shame on you.
The psychographics we're reviewing mainly to mainstreamers and succeeders, so it's people that tend to be more interested in technology. And the demographics will stretch from groups A to E, I don't know if you can slide in, which is basically what jobs they do. So it stretches anything from higher management to pensioners and students, and white collar, blue collar jobs, all of that.
Okay, why us? We, as we're students and we're quite young, we use technology a lot, such as phones and laptops, and yeah, we agree to a lot of stuff online which we don't exactly read. We know a lot of people who have been affected by this, who've signed up to things which have been fake, and then had all their personal information stolen from them or bank details taken away, or anything like that.
The project timescale, so we have 6 weeks today is when it's due in for, and for the next week or so we're going to be doing the pre-production paperwork, and then after that we're going to be focusing on the filming, which will take about 2 weeks maximum, and then we'll focus on the editing, and it will give us enough time for, if in case anything does go wrong, then we can reshoot, or we would like to have at least a week at the end of the project, so that if it does go wrong, then we can re-edit bits of it and just double check that everything's okay and set to go. And then this is our ideal budget in terms of if it was going to be a wide-scale production. So this would be all the finances.
Natty, go first. Oh dear. I like the idea. It's very dry, and I don't know. It would be nice to have obviously there's no comedy there. It's all just facts, is it? And I think it's going to be too dry. That's only my opinion. But I like the subject.
Are you going to use graphics?
Yes, we plan using graphics instead of just using cutaway shots of other things that probably don't need to be there.
Okay, so I thought, I mean, fair play to you, because last time you were talking about something about the music world, it sounded quite vague. And this comes up, and I think, oh, great, that's something I don't know. Interesting. And my interest as it went on, I was thinking, oh Christ, it sounds like rather heavy going this, you know, dear oh dear. And parts of it were beginning to sound like a kind of iOS for dummies type thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of bit of a manual. And I was trying to think of how to make it more specific, and if you begin from the point of how many of us have had this email with one of those phishing spam type emails, that humanising, we've all had those in our inbox. If you started from the point of view of who sends out this stuff, who are the spammers, who sends out, because if you look that up, you'll find they're really weird people. I think the biggest spammer of all time was a chess grandmaster who was also supported the American Nazi Party until they found out he was Jewish, in which case he was kicked out. Absolute raving nutcase. So they're quite interesting, but it's a way of personalising it, because it sounds a bit impersonal and dry and manual-like. I like the thing about the looking at what's in the consent things that you know, we flick through all those things, next, agree, what's actually in it. Someone recently did an experiment where they put clauses promising to hand over your firstborn to Satan or something in there. Quite interesting that. So vox pops with people, are you aware what you've actually signed here? Might be interesting. But all the time I'm thinking about how to humanise it. And what's a central, I've used this word again and again today, what's a conceit that enables you to tell this story in a more accessible form? And is that you set out to find out as much as possible about someone online and try and sort of breach their security and, you know, make an experiment of it? That's a conceit. Is it that we look at the world's biggest spammer and what they did and how they did it, and that's a conceit? It's a bit ambitious, I know, but just try and get away from the manual thing. It's a good subject area because it affects us all, and none of us really understand it. It's a good thing to explain, I like all that, but get away from the dry manual type feel of it. That's what I felt anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I was really excited about it because I've been affected by this. I know so many people who have, and I think you're spot on with the timing. This is a necessary film. I was wondering if you could you could set up a little booth at Brooks as a kind of some kind of place where people are signing up for something, and you make it vague enough that they sign up, so would you be part of our experiment, sort of a new and modern day experiment of what people are prepared to sign up for, and you know, sort of make it interesting, that see how easily people are phished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sort of film. I mean, what we did, we rented a video booth for this, or someone else did, but we were running it, weren't we, Natty? And it was quite interesting in the video booth what people were talking about. But I can't imagine that you'd get a video booth, but you could get something whereby it's some sort of, you're saying, if you enter this space, you're into an experimental space. And so let people know that, but in a way you could fake some kind of signing up. I sometimes see things set up at Brooks where you can get your phone recharged or something, or you know, it's something that you seems like you're giving them something. Yeah. And you are taking part in the experiment, so you've got to cover yourself here. But the idea is that it's almost like, how quickly do people hand over their details to you? In some way, do you know what I mean?
It's another conceit, it's another way of doing it, isn't it?
Yes, that's the conceit. Yeah, so rather than doing something all online, sort of, it might be interesting for filmic reasons, to see. It's a bit like one of those, who used to do those funny comedy sketches,
Don John,
what was it, Happy?
Trigger
Happy, but obviously a bit more serious than Trigger Happy, if you remember that. I think it's a bit far back now, but you know, where you kind of set up, but what it does, it reveals something, it reveals how gullible we all are. I mean, and at what point people say, stop, hang on, what is this about? So you may want to think of constructing your, and again, a very interesting intellectual position to come from. Something, now visualise it. Yeah, visualise it.
Find a human way of telling it, yeah.
Brilliant.
Good subject area, like it.
Really good. Continue.
Thank you. Next
Last one.